Stieglitz joins us now. He's written a book called The Old Man's Request. It's book one in this series that he's written. And it's interesting. We had a great off-air conversation, and the directions he takes you in this book will, I think, wow you. Thanks so much for coming on, Joab. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Kate.
So what led you to this project? What led you to coming up with this first book?
Well, I'm an avid role player. I've been playing role-playing games since I was a teenager. And in the 90s, I ran an extended game called Call of Cthulhu, and I took copious notes of each week's sessions, and some of those turned into a series of books.
So this first one, The Old Man's Request, tell us what that adventure's about.
Well, that adventure centers around Anna Rykov, who is a Russian-American anthropologist in 1929 in New York. She's an expert on the Varangians, who are the Vikings who traveled the rivers of Russia. However, as a female professional in the 20s, who could be a communist, she was having trouble finding a job. So when the old man, Jason Lomborough, trustee of a small college in upstate New York, offered her a job, she took it, and she's been indebted to him. Anna is an American. She wants to be seen as an American, but she does have an accent, and people view her as a potential foreigner, so she has trouble in that regard. But Longborough saw her potential and hired her, along with a couple other folks who became her friends, a doctor named Lamb and a priest named O'Malley. No stereotypes. And fast forward a couple of years, and Mr. Longborough is now on his deathbed and has something troubling his soul that he wishes them to address. And they, we find out through the book, are uniquely qualified to address it.
Wow. So because you're a gamer, and I think you started off with Dungeons and Dragons, and now we see how huge the world is when it comes to that. What would you classify this book as? I mean, what kind of a book? Fantasy? I think there's like a thrilling aspect to it, though, like a thriller.
Yeah, I consider it a supernatural pulp adventure. It's the genre is known as cosmic horror, which is unlike the traditional gothic horror, man versus God kind of thing. Mm-hmm. In cosmic horror, man is completely inconsequential in the universe, and there are entities that they see humanity like ants. We're inconsequential to them, and over time, some of those things have interfered in the events of Earth. And in this book, it's kind of the same. So cosmic horror is what I would call it. Supernatural pulp adventure.
Yeah, I like that supernatural pulp adventure. I like that image.
Yeah, it's not a horror story. It's more of an adventure story.
Yeah. And it's set in the, 1920s?
Yeah, it's set in 1929, actually. The first trilogy is set in the summer of 1929, the first three books, which is right before the Depression hit. And then the fourth book is set the following winter, where the Depression is hit, and I draw on some of that stuff. Try to keep the historical bits in there, too, to make it more three-dimensional.
When people read this book, what do you hope they take away?
Well, these are written as pure escapist entertainment, so I hope they take away enjoyment and that they want to read some more.
You want to read the series. Was it easy once you did the first one to realize, I have a series here, I can do a trilogy on this?
Yeah, well, the first three of them were kind of tied together. At one time, they may have all been published as a single, really fat book. But these days, you do a series, so it's carved up into three pieces. It's kind of like Star Wars. The first book stands by itself, and then the second one says "see you," and the third one at the end. So.
I like that. And then that's it. You know what I like? The names of some of your characters are so interesting. And one of the descriptions just popped out of my mind when you think of Flame Princess. Tell us about Flame Princess.
Well, along the way, they encounter a sorceress, as it were, a woman of, the Asian woman of timeless beauty in the spice shop behind the Chinese restaurant. And Chinese restaurants were a new thing in the 20s. So this is also very exotic. And among the things she does is she pops a flame out of her thumb to sterilize needles.
Ooh. Oh, your mind goes in a lot of different directions. It's so fascinating. And like I said at the beginning, it was shaped, I think your writing is shaped by all the different games that you were involved with. But it's interesting what you do for a living. Software training, network engineer, project manager, technical writer in these 3 decades plus. What do your workmates have? Do they know that you've written these books? What do they say about them?
Well, I work from home, so I don't really have much direct interaction with my coworkers. But they have been made aware of my writing, and several people have commented that it's entertaining. But
there you go.
It's got nothing to do with my day job.
But it does have to do with writing, because you know, having the gift of writing and then taking it in a different direction, I think that there is something to that. And then your background of being interested right from the get-go in all different kinds of games.
They say every technical writer is a novelist at heart. A novelist in hiding.
Joab, thank you so much for coming on. And you can get all of these books, of course, all of his books. Look them up on Amazon. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, Kate.